Hey guys, and welcome back to the Movie Club Emporium. And this week we're prepping for our live stream that we're going to be doing this month. We're talking about Mad Max knockoffs, and I need to get into the spirit of the season of Mad Max knockoffs. And so it really came down to what's one to talk about that I'm sure we'll talk about in some detail on our live stream, but what's one that not only pays homage to Mad Max, but also Gladiator, Knight Riders, Resident Evil, 28 Days Later, and every other like dark, rainy action movie from the early 2000s. We're talking about 2008's Doomsday. Now, this is the film by Neil Marshall, who previously brought us the amazing Dog Soldiers and the even more amazing The Descent. This was his third outing. This was his biggest budget to that date. Unfortunately, this movie didn't do well in the theaters. Which is sad because this movie is a lot of fun. I hadn't watched it probably since like watching it on like an unrated DVD. But watching it now was like showing it to Ashton and then Amber and I revisiting it like since we first got married. It was a lot of fun. This is a movie that again incorporates a lot of films, kind of the best of a lot of movies, but does it well. And even a movie like this, like you said, the budget was $30 million. This movie looks, even now on Blu-ray, looks incredible. But a movie starts out at the present day, where a terrible virus rips across England, or the United Kingdom, because we're mostly in Scotland. And when you know it, the government doesn't handle it well, which leads to a ton of casualties, and basically the whole island of Scotland and Northern England walled off, with no fly zones. Everybody's behind metal doors, and I almost could hear John Carpenter's Escape from LA score playing in my head. And then we're introduced to our main character, played by Rona Mitra, who in the early 2000s had a good run of playing all the characters that Kate Beckinsale said no to in the wake of Underworld. Because she's in this, she's in Underworld 3, in that prequel one, which may be a franchise I have to go back and visit at some time. Because angsty 2000s Jason loved him some Underworld. With that Killer Finch song, how could you not? But no, she's kind of like the we have Kate Beckinsale's character from Underworld at home, and she's fine in this movie. You also have a lot of Neil Marshall stable guys, whether it's a lot of the guys who are in Dog Soldiers. The character of Spoon, I can't remember the other guy's name. Sean Petrie shows up very briefly before he's cooked and eaten. You have Bob Hoskins himself, my Super Mario. Take that, Chris Pratt. Wow, I'm filming 2 reviews in a row where I'm just taking shots at Chris Pratt in Super Mario, for a film I haven't seen. But Bob Hoskins, Eddie Valiant himself is in this movie. And so we basically find out that the virus has spread past the wall. Who knew that airborne viruses could, crawl over tall metal buildings, metal walls? Who'd have thought? And so, but we've also found that there are survivors in the hot zone. So we got to send this ragtag team into the hot zone to save the president. And then we got to get that microfilm. Nope. This is Escape from New York again. We got to go find survivors and find a cure to bring back. You also find out that the guy who's like the puppeteer behind the prime minister is crooked, because of course he is. The actor, I can't remember his name, but you just one look at him, you're like, well, he's a bad guy. And that's where we get our first taste of, we kind of step out of that movie and into Mad Max for a while, because there's this basically all of Glasgow, as I slap my microphone, has become this giant roving gang of guys in like football pads, and we're carrying like uh, table legs with saw blades nailed to them. And we're just running around eating people. A pack of cannibals led by the character Saul, who, weirdly enough, I know this is 30 years into the future because it's like 2032 is when this happens, 2038 or whatever. But still, to have the wherewithal to get the biohazard sign tattooed on your back is pretty weird. So we escape from them. We go out into the beautiful Highlands to discover that Ian Malcolm, not Ian Malcolm, that's Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park. That would be wild. What a twist. Oh my god, it's Ian Malcolm. He's like, life finds a way. No, it's Ian, oh my god. Fudge. Malcolm McDowell. Oh man. Malcolm McDowell has decided to play Renaissance Fair for real because he lives in this castle and they live like it's the 1400s, and he's told all of his followers that there's nothing beyond the wall. No they're really the village that we're taking shots at here, which is wild for it to be like that's the movie we're gonna homage here for a bit. Which leads back into a giant like car chase that is awesome. There's a car covered in human skin, not skim, which would be super light milk. There is a guy in a gimp suit strapped to the front of like a four-wheeler, like it's pure Mad Max. All in all, to tell you that this movie is a blast. I'm so excited thinking about it because it just rocked my brain because it's every fun action movie you could think of, all boiled down into this like hour and 45 minutes. Also, I believe the Blu-ray is like a high definition version of that unrated DVD because this movie's gory. Like to the point where I was like in my living room going like, oh no, like there's some blood and guts in this film in the best way. And again, all the stars in it are fun. They're all having a blast. Malcolm McDowell is great as this, like for what little bit of the movie he's in, because we are rushing through a lot of other genres and a lot of other films that we're paying homage to. Again, said this is something kind of like Drive Angry, where the audience was not here for it when it came out, and I feel like if this movie was looked at again nowadays, this movie would have a huge following, but it's kind of been buried, especially with Neil Marshall kind of being in movie jail after this, because I mean you have the Heights of the Descent, he does this, and then Centurion, which I liked. Also did not do very well, so he was kind of relegated to TV, but directed some great episodes of Game of Thrones. So then he gets to do the Hellboy, new Hellboy from 2019 with David Harbour. I will die on the hill defending that's a fun movie. I know it's not Ron Perlman. We're not getting Ron Perlman as Hellboy. I think it was a fun time. I know I'm one of, I think Ashton liked it, so one of two people who really liked that movie. But I had fun with it. And then he did another movie not too long ago that was like a direct-to-streaming monster movie. And then like a witch movie. So like he's kind of in, we probably won't see another big movie from Neil Marshall, but unfortunately, but for his one big crack at the mainstream, I think he did it, man. When they always say when you want to do, growing up, I grew up in the age of, the indie boom of like Tarantino and Rodriguez and Kevin Smith and stuff like that, and it was always like you listen to those commentaries, and it was always, talk about, make movies about what you love, and Neil Marshall was like, let me show you what's on the top shelf of my DVD collection, because we're making all of them in this one movie. And it's an absolute blast. So I highly recommend Doomsday when you can find it. You can probably find it on physical, super cheap. I'm pretty sure it's streaming places. But do yourself a favor, man. Just have a blast with this ultra gory, wild ride through some of the best action sci-fi movies there are. Now, in all seriousness, we've had a good time with Doomsday, but now it's time to get real. I feel like enough time has passed since it has come out. Enough time for me to finally sit down and watch the remake of Roadhouse. I even wore my black bouncing T-shirt for my, it's my cooler shirt, not like cooler, but like cooler, like my Dalton T-shirt, because I look just like Patrick Swayze in this shirt. But next week, or Jake Gyllenhaal, is it? Next week, I'm going to try to give you my unbiased opinion on the brand new remake of Roadhouse. One of the most quintessential movies of my teenage years. And I'm almost like 80% sure it's not because of Kelly Lynch and that like terrible, uncomfortable looking rock wall. You know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. But we're gonna see how this works. So stay tuned next week. We'll be talking about Roadhouse. And so, in that good spirit, go back and watch the original, because there's nothing I can tell you that you don't already know about the original Roadhouse. Go watch Doomsday. This movie needs a lot of love. I know this movie needs reappreciation really badly. This movie needs an audience. And how? And then also remember to be nice until it's time to not be nice. Roadhouse. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.